Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Bob Pompeani here as we get you set for a lot of discussion tonight. Pat Narduzzi says he's, quote, 100% certain there will be a college football season. We'll talk about that. We'll also get into some NFL topics, not just COVID-related, but Antonio Brown-related. Baseball. Pirates have the worst record in the majors, the worst hitting offense in the majors. We'll dissect, but the #1 topic tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown will be the Penguins in a surprising Game 1 loss of best-of-5 qualifier against Montreal. And here's your panel. Rich Walsh, my colleague here at KDKA-TV, and we're joined tonight by the sports director up at 93.7 The Fan, Mr. Jeff Hathorn. Jeff, good to have you. I'm going to start with you on this one. Penguins go 1 for 7 on the power play. They miss a penalty shot. When you look back, to me, that was the #1 issue. So, therefore, what happens to the power play moving forward, and why can't Patrick Hornquist get on it?
Yeah, that's one of the first moves I would make. I'm putting Hornquist on that top line just for the traffic in front. And I think that's part of the issue with the entire game was that there wasn't enough traffic in front of these shots. I mean, when you have a 5-on-3 with that kind of talent, you've got to score or at least have better opportunities than they had. And I get it. They have a lot of talent, and sometimes they try to make that pretty play, and sometimes they pull it off. But while I think they, at spurts, played pretty well, they didn't have that playoff mentality, and hopefully they were able to find that in practice today.
For me, it comes down to the power play, too. 5-on-3 for about a minute and a half, right? So you would think with a team like the Penguins and an explosive power play like the Penguins have with all the stars on it, that they would score, what, 75% of the time? I'm talking about these guys. I don't know what the exact statistics are for someone with a power play for a 5-on-3 for a minute and 30, but I would think with stars like this, you should be able to score. They need to get pucks on the net. I think this is your typical Penguins. They're looking past this Canadiens team because the Canadiens are inferior. They got these stars. They're always going to come back and win. Well, it didn't happen last night. I think the Penguins are in trouble. I think tomorrow's a must-win for these guys. But if they continue to play like they're playing now, they could potentially lose this, which would be devastating. This would be worse than last year if they lose this series.
Yeah, I don't think they will. I think I'll go on record and say they're going to win it, and they're going to win it because the stars that you talked about, Rich, they are the ones who are the biggest offenders when it comes to power play problems because they just do not buy into the constant, just get the puck on the net. When they do it, a la Philadelphia Flyer style or Boston Bruins style, you score goals. So they don't do that. They got to make a change there, and they have to take advantage. But I still think they're going to win a series. So, Jeff, back to you on this one. Do you make a goaltending change? Mike Sullivan said that Matt Murray was solid, but he was clearly outplayed by Carey Price, who was really getting the first 10 minutes of this game. So, guys, Jeff, start with you. Do you make a switch in goal just to ignite a team?
No. I thought Murray was good enough. I mean, he didn't steal him a game, obviously, but I thought he played fairly well. I mean, the first goal was fluky. And the second goal, maybe he could have taken the angle a little better. And then the one in overtime, there were bodies in front. And I think that's the difference between Carey Price and Matt Murray, is Murray had a lot more traffic in front than Price had to deal with. I thought Murray played pretty well. And of all the issues with the Penguins, Murray was one of the least.
Yeah, maybe you can blame some of the defensemen for being out of position on that overtime goal. But, look, I thought Tristan Jarry was the best goaltender this year for the Penguins. I agree with the move with starting Murray to begin this postseason. I stick with them for one more game. Look, here's what you're going to get with Murray. He's probably going to give up 3 goals. Your offense, you should be able to score 4 goals with this team, and they should win. But I would keep Murray in for one more game. And if they lose this game, even if it's a close one, and he plays okay, then I make the move to Jarry.
No, I make the move to Jarry.
And you know, Rich,
I go game 2, I go Jarry, and I do it just because I don't think he was the better goaltender.
Well,
Nothing against Matt Murray, by the way, who I like, and I thought should have started this. But I think when you're in a best of 5, it's much more a situation where you have no room for error.
So, Pop, you're saying you're panicking right now.
No, I'm not. I'm saying I make a move. There is no panic. I said they're going to win the series. That has nothing to do with panic. And quite frankly, the problem on that goal by Jeff Petrie was not the defense. It was Zach Aston-Reese, who was way out of position on that. He has to make sure he takes up the middle of the ice to prevent a guy like Petrie moving in. So, no, I'm not panicking, but I'm saying I make a move because I think Tristan Jarry was the better goaltender throughout this season, and I will do that because I know I have to get a win, and I'll try to jumpstart my team if I can.
What does that say to Murray, though?
Aren't in goal. The issues aren't in goal, guys.
I understand that, but he wasn't the better goaltender.
I agree with providing a spark. but I don't think the Penguins need that just yet. I stick with Murray. If they lose this game, no matter how they lose it, then you go to Jarry.
Well, wait a minute. Now you're just contradicting yourself. If he plays out of his mind and they lose it, you're going to say you're going to go to Jarry then, right? You just said you wouldn't do that.
I would go to Jarry
well.
no matter what, Bob, because I think you need a spark at that point. Right now, I just try to stick with what I have. And hopefully they can change something in that locker room, get them motivated to go out and beat the worst team in the postseason. I think that's what they need.
How about instead of changing the goalie, you change some of the guys in the lineup? How about maybe Evan Rodriguez or Sam Lafferty come in and add some more speed? Get Marleau out. I mean, Marleau, I feel for him. He wants to win a cup, but he's too slow for this team, even with fresh legs. Even though he's got experience, I want those young legs facing a young, quick Montreal team. I think that would provide more of a spark than a goalie change.
What about some defenders? How about Jack Johnson? Do you stick with him?
You know what? I think his reputation is worse than his game. I really do. I mean, and I don't know. I'm not going to make a change there. I like those three lines. Yeah, they made some mistakes. And man, if you're hunting positives in a Clint Hurdleism, you know, John Marino, I thought was really outstanding. I mean, you can really see what this guy is going to be in a couple of years, and I look forward to that.
Yeah, he was outstanding. Rich, I want to ask you about Jake Gensel because we saw him come back. And listen, I got to give the guy a pass as far as missing all of that time following surgery. If anyone is going to get off to a slower start, I would imagine it would be him. But I'm not going to deviate from him on the top line. I see some people on Twitter want to shake up everything on the top line. See, that to me would be panicking. I like that line when they're going. They got to certainly score more, obviously. But Jake Gensel, I think by the end of this, you know, he was the most gifted goal scorer in the postseason of any player since 2017. So I am not doubting him.
Yeah, he might be their best goal scorer on this team. I mean, he's got some good competition, but he's a pretty good scorer. So I think he will get back into it in the next game. Hopefully it doesn't take him more than one more game. But I keep that top line together. I've seen a lot of people trying to say put Patrick Hornquist on that top line, but I want to give this top line a little bit longer. Maybe midway through, if you're starting to get worried, then you change him. You don't agree, Jeff?
Maybe at the start of the game, but man, Connor Sherry's got to do something. He's had opportunities, and it's not just not putting a shot on net on a penalty shot late in the game, which is bad. But I like Zucker up there. I mean, Malkin's line didn't do anything. I think Zucker with Crosby in that line, I think they can do something really nice, and I think that might be the spark. Shift it up that way, because Connor Sherry showed me nothing in that first game. Yes, he had opportunities. He's got to bury some of that. I think Zucker is a more talented player overall, and I'd make that move.
I liked when Zucker played up on that top line, and I was questioning that at the beginning when they were practicing. But I understand that Gensel, Sherry, Crosby all played together. I wouldn't mind seeing that either. Move Sherry down the lineup. The one thing about Sherry, he is a streaky guy. He might score 4 goals for a period in 2 weeks, you know, scoring every night, and then you might not see him for 3 months. And I hope that that's not the case with him now, but it looks like that's the Sherry that we're getting at the beginning of this postseason.
If I'm going to dangle with lines, it might be the third line, and I wouldn't take Patrick Marleau out, though. I still think that guy is going in the training camp session. He was pretty good. He may have been one of their better players. I think he still has a lot of motivation, and I still think this team wants to win for him. But that third line has got to be better, doesn't it? Jeff, start with you. I mean, you got to do better than what Jerry McCann did. He was not a very good player last night.
Yeah, and that's McCann's thing. He's got to finish. He's got the energy. He's got a lot of those things, but that's been the biggest bugaboo with him is him not finishing. And I get what you're saying, and I think that third line has issues. But you were talking about what they did in Cranberry. Man, Sam Lafferty, especially in that first scrimmage, he was everywhere. Rodriguez brings energy. If you put him on, one of those guys on that line instead of Marleau, and that doesn't mean Marleau's done for the postseason, but for this game and for this matchup with the Islanders, I think that would be a spark, and that could help that third line. Now, special teams played into a little bit why the third line didn't play as much, but, man, they didn't do anything last night.
They need to make a small tweak change. They're going to do something. Maybe it is Rodriguez. Maybe it is Lafferty. Maybe you need to get one of those younger guys in there. I don't know if I change the top line yet, but I do like the fact that potentially moving Zucker up there, Jeff. I do like that. But I don't make a drastic move in this game. But this is a must-win game. They have to win this game.
And they will.
Absolutely have to.
They're going to win the next 3. Mark it down right here. You heard it first. They're going to win this series, and Montreal is not that good. They played an aggressive game last night. But
They have nothing to lose, Bob. They have nothing to lose.
Yes, they do. The number 1 pick in the draft who's from Montreal, and they won. But I'm
Guys,
telling you, Rich, you saw the
I'll
best
say-
of Montreal last night. You will not see the same in the next 3 games.
I'll say this for Montreal and Claude Julien. They followed what the Penguins did in their playoff woes before, and they attacked.
Yes.
Even on the power play, their penalty kill attacked, and that's how you get this Penguins team out of sorts. The teams that sit back, the Penguins can pick apart, but the ones that attack, they have issues with, and Montreal did a really good job. And if the Pens don't make them pay, they're going to keep doing it, and then it could make this a really tough series.
All right. We're going to have a lot more coming up here, but first I'm going to tell you it's always exciting when a team moves into a new building. We've seen that before, but it's certainly true with the team at number 1 Cochran Hyundai South Hills and their spacious new facility. If you haven't checked it out, check it out, even though it's only just a mile up the street from where they were. Right now, for a limited time, get special grand opening offers in both sales and service. It's the new number 1 Cochran Hyundai South Hills, now conveniently located at 3220 West Liberty Avenue. Next up, we're going to talk about baseball and problems with COVID, plus the Pirates, just problems all over the place. And that's next.
The number 1 Cochran Sports Showdown is brought to you by number 1 Cochran. Go one better. And by Highmark Blue Cross Blue Shield. Have a greater hand in your health.